to talk about the title of this video is what happens next. This is like what happens when technologies or trends that are like creeping up or coming along, but people don't notice it, but then they kind of converge. Whoa, it's like something that's was hardly developing or hardly anybody noticed, and suddenly it becomes like a bomb. And this is exactly what's happening with the many trends that are kind of coming along slowly, and people are getting used to see a little bit more today, a little bit more tomorrow. But there comes a point that the human consciousness or the perception that the public has or individuals have become suddenly conscious. Oh my God, this thing is really out of hand, out of control. Because the many mathematical formulas, they are really growth formulas, which means like e to the x or e to the power of 2 or a to the power of x. They accumulate, what the initial accumulation is not perceptible. The best way to talk about this is that there was there is a game player, chess player, that went and play chess with the king, and the king asked him, what should we have as the prize? He said, oh, nothing, just if you lose, then I want 1 grain of rice on the first square. That would be my pay. Double that on the second square, and double that on the third square, and then initially it seems like a very minute amount of money or something, but really this is a mathematical formula, and the king finally figured it out. Hey, this I don't have so many grains of rice in my entire kingdom. So the first chess player, he got his head chopped off. But I want to talk about trends that are going on, that are like that. They're creeping up. One of them is what leads to zero marginal cost society, which means like as the technological advances become more rapid, it becomes cheaper and cheaper to produce another copy of the same thing. Like email, once you pay for the servers or the network is in place, there's some initial cost, might be high, but then you can issue millions of emails and issue another email and giving it to somebody else just for them to be member and watch some ads. That's, the cost is almost nothing. Then that doesn't stop there, because now besides information and videos and communication, that the price has collapsed. Then we are entering Internet of Things. For example, right now I could use a CAD/CAM program to make a little fighter plane that runs on kerosene. Okay, and I'll have the MRI plans for it. It's nothing but designers' wishes and desires encoded very accurately in an MRI image. But then I could go on the internet and find companies that would 3D print this model for me, and then I'll have the latest drone that can go across the planet and then do something like that. then that's like a trend. So basically, the cost of the information first collapsed. Then now we are entering an era that the cost of any kind of device is collapsing. And then as the 3D printing gets more advanced, then you can print electronics and other stuff. And then also there is bio 3D printing that's coming along. So for example, now I lost one of my eyes, then a doctor, I could go to a doctor and he would pick out the cells that are healthy and will replicate them and put them into this bio printer, which is like a 3D printer, and print another copy of my left eye. So that the cost for biological parts is collapsing. Okay, not as rapidly as the other costs, but it's coming along on a trajectory like the other one, something like that. And then the same goes ditto with the energy. We are getting capacitors that can store a lot of energy. For example, I could have a solar farm that acquires megawatt hours, but it acquires this very slowly throughout the day from many different solar collectors. But then if I have, or as things are progressing, if I'm getting a lot of storage capacity and capacitors, I could store megawatt hours into this little capacitor. Then if I want to use or discharge this electricity, for example, I could make a laser gun and discharge all this energy in a short burst. I'm not limited to the same manner of acquisition as when I collected this energy. So there is a collapse in the prices, and then also the technology allows me to collect and discharge large amount of energy or use it suddenly. This process can go on with robotics and commodities. As the robots becomes more advanced, then I could have the robots do the mining, and then the cost of commodities of anything, even silver, copper, or oil, that one will collapse. So these are like, even though you don't see them as similar, but they are really the same trajectory or the same formulas. As we go towards singularity, all these different phenomena that each one was a different industry and a different process, they're all becoming information, and then because the information has has collapsed in price, and also the mannerism, technological requirement for turning this information into like a biological part or a device or energy or commodity, that also is collapsing. So this is like a complete deflationary collapse in the cost of replicating anything, and that's being food or energy or devices or information or videos. So we are technologically going towards this zero marginal cost society, even though we are not conscious of it. So when you listen to many economists, the models they have is really old, is based on labor and capital and how they are converted into each other, how for example the bourgeoisie, they always manage to cheat the labor. But the way the technological progress is marching is that all these models are becoming obsolete, and the only model that exists is the one I just told you. It's all creeping up on us, and so there is another concept of singularity. When there's so many of these technologies that have converged, or the technological singularity is to such a level, then when all this happens at the same time, the humans will have a hard time adapting to these sudden changes. It will become manifest, just like the chess player. They figured out, hey, there isn't enough grain of rice to pay this player in the whole kingdom. Okay, so this is very interesting topic, and also it's quite mathematical because it is basically the same formulas marching along on a different path. Okay, so and also the human being usually grow up in a certain culture. Okay, so for example, I grew up at the Shah's time in Iran, or coming all the way to 1977. Okay, at that time, the technological advancements of making things, or making food or fuel, was very old. It was like that of the 1970s. So you could see very clearly all these different functions. They were done separately, and they all look completely different industries. And but now I see that a lot of these industries, they are becoming really the same thing. For example, I think that every team will become information, and every team will end up on a server somewhere. It will become like a file, and this file is either public or being hidden away by somebody, and then there will be interface devices to bring these files and make them into things. Right now, in the stock market, the 5 companies that dominate the stock market, they're all server-based companies, like Apple or Amazon or Netflix or what's the other one? They call it Facebook, and there's an end there somewhere. Anyhow, all of these really important companies that have become some kind of a server farm, and all their world, the virtual world, is mirrored inside these servers. Okay, so right now, this is all I want to do with these concepts of convergence, and the fact that at some point the discontinuity between what the people are used to in production or in replication of services or things, it becomes so huge that there will be like a cultural shock, trying to figure out what's happening. Or the other way is saying that a lot of industries will become like this FANG or 5 stocks. They will become information based, and that's it. Well, that's all I want to do. These concepts are a little bit complex, and on other videos I'm just going to go over some other aspect of this. But there will be at a point when there will be a cultural discontinuity between what the technology can do, or what the perception of the world that individuals have. Well, thank you very much for being in my YouTube channel, and please subscribe. You have a nice day.